My name is Chelsea Eder, and today I'll be placing a indwelling Foley catheter on my patient using the sterile technique. The first thing I would do is check my orders. Then I would gather all my supplies. I would make my way into the patient room. I would introduce myself, perform hand hygiene. I would verify the patient's identity using their name and date of birth. I would ask them their allergies. I would explain the procedure to them, let them know what I'm going to do. I would make sure peri-care was either recently documented, or I would perform it myself using just regular gloves. I would provide patient privacy. There's no curtain in here. And then I would position the patient. Putting their knees up slightly and having their legs spread. I would ask them to remain that way. And then I would start opening my Foley kit. For this process, I'll be using the sterile procedure. I would take note that anything hanging off of my bedside table would be contaminated, no longer sterile. For the drape, it's important to know that the outside inch is not sterile. Perimeter of it. Next, I would don my sterile gloves. Again, the outer inch of the perimeter of the packaging is all I have to work with, touching it with my dirty hands. I don't have much area to work with, but I would make sure to not touch anything in my sterile field over here either. Okay, next I would prep my supplies. I would take my iodine solution and pour it onto the cotton balls, and this would be trash. I'm gathering all my supplies while my hands are still sterile. I would pour my lubricant into the basin. That would be trash. I would prepare a specimen cup. I would attach my syringe of saline to the port to make things easier. I would remove the packaging, careful to not let the catheter flop around and touch surfaces that are not sterile. Then I would go ahead and clean the patient. So I would go onto the right side of the labia using my left hand. To spread the urinary meatus, I would go one cotton ball, one wipe down on the right side, being careful to not take the dirty over my sterile field. that would be garbage. I'll take another and repeat one wipe down on the left side. Staying over my sterile field coming in. Go once down the middle. And I would take note that my left hand is now contaminated, no longer sterile. Then I would take my catheter with my clean hand, lubricate the first 2 inches or so of the catheter. And then I would bring my box over to the bedside, place it onto the sterile drape. I would tell my patient to inhale slowly and to try to relax and prepare. And I would spread with my left hand. I would insert the catheter. I would insert it until I saw urine flow into the catheter, and then I would advance it 2 more inches. For a male, I could pretty much insert the catheter almost all the way to the hub, just to make sure that the urine is flowing. Okay, and then I would, with my hand secure the catheter, and I would inflate with the appropriate amount of saline fluid into this port here. Insert it, inflate it. I would give a little tug to ensure that it's secure. I would then secure the Foley to the inside of the thigh, making sure it's not too loose but also not too taut where it's tugging. If I needed a urine specimen, I could gather it from the Foley bag before I put it on the side of the bed. Once it's on the side of the bed, then it's no longer a sterile specimen, and it will have to retrieve from this port. And so once I was done with the specimen, I would hang it on the side, make sure there were no dependent loops, or that it wasn't being tugged in any way. Put the patient in a safe position, and that would be the end of the procedure.